Hello and welcome to Kegums in Latvia, the Latvian Grand Prix. My name is Paul Malin. It's round 10 of the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship. And in the last hour, that's not water that's gone on the track in artificial measures. We have just had the biggest couple of downpours for about 30-40 minutes or so. And the circuit now that was fast drying out after MX2 and MX1 race 1 has now gone back to probably the worst condition that it has been all weekend. And the blue skies, look at the amount of water laying on the start line there. That is just in the space of the last, like I say, 30 minutes. So MX2, if there was an important time to get a good start, then this is it, because first race, Joel Rouland's taking his second ever race victory. He was a 12-second winner over Jeffrey Hurlings, Jeremy Van Horbeke, Jake Nichols and Jordi Tixier. Tommy Searle DNF'd the first moto due to a mechanical failure of some kind, a blown oil seal or radiator hose damage. Either way, it was smoke billowing out the side of the bike, and he had the peace of mind really just to pull it over and look down and say, right, this doesn't look safe to continue. Maybe it would have been, I don't know, but obviously I've not been down and spoken to the team, not had time. But these are how the riders lined up from their qualifying race yesterday. And in the championship, Jeffrey Hurlings now 4-2-5, which is a monumental gap now for Tommy Searle, because after not finishing that second race, that first race, Tommy Searle now finds himself, just looking at the points, 38 points down. And so it's going to be a mammoth task now. But conditions, as we've said and as we've seen, could be a crucial factor, maybe even a deciding factor in the outcome of this Latvian Grand Prix and also the World Championship. Oh, looks like one of the KTMs wanted to go early there. First race, Hurlings had to come from the outside, and he's doing the same again. Manages to stay up. The first turn actually pretty firm, but a good start for Tommy Searle and Jake Nichols once again. So Nastan Racing KTM of Jake Nichols and Tommy Searle with one of the Red Bull KTMs, probably Tixier by the look of things. And then Rouland, Tonus has gone down either through the first turn or through the wave section. So our onboard camera goes down, yep, through the waves. Look at the amount of water that's laying right down in the pits there. But it's Van Horbeke, actually, who's grabbed the whole shot. So Van Horbeke, 89, leads from Tommy Searle in second. Looks like Tixier in third, with Rouland in fourth, and that's pretty much as I can tell you. I've got yellow flags out there. It might be Anstey actually in fifth place. So Max Anstey in fifth. Hurlings in sixth position as he came through the first split point. Oh, there's Jake Nichols. So Jake Nichols was leading. So he's gone down. That's coming back through after the second tabletop, the double single, which has caught out more than one rider over the past few years. Van Horbeke went down there a few years ago. Look at that, on board with Tonus. Wasn't too bad going in. Meanwhile, onto the outside, there was the six of Anstey. And then what happened here? Obviously, Tonus probably got filled in. Oh, look at that. Somebody just cleaned him out from the outside. Just going to try and see who that might have been from this angle. Roman Febvre, I think it might have been, 461. The Bodo Schmidt KTM rider. But Hurlings all the way over there, look, all the way to the outside. Tried to get across Osborne, didn't quite work out for him. Hurlings already making progress through the field. He's actually gone by both the Kawasaki riders. So we've got a KTM 1-2 at the moment. Van Horbeke. It was Searle and Tixier, but let's have a quick look as they come back through here. Right, Jeremy Van Horbeke leads. Jeffrey Hurlings is second. So as they came over the line a moment ago, it was Van Horbeke, Searle, Tixier, Rouland and Anstey, with Hurlings in sixth place. Jake Nichols pushing that bike back, so disappointment for Jake Nichols. The handlebars completely trashed, and Nichols going from a potential podium in Moto number one, having to settle for fourth place. That's where he would have crashed over there in that corner. But Tommy Searle not in second, so Searle's made a mistake, because that's Tixier, sorry. Tixier second, Hurling's third. Anstey in fourth, so both the Kawasaki's have gone missing. In fact, one of them's down over there. Look, yellow flags waving in the background again on what is a treacherous circuit at the moment. Lots of surface water, lots of holes, lots of soft patches, square edge bumps that are just suddenly going to become difficult to see. Look at it up on the top here, coming into the penultimate corner. Still quite firm underneath. We knew that would be the case, but it's also very, very shiny there as well. There's one of the Kawasaki's. In fact, both the Kawasaki's, Roulants and Tommy Searle, 34 and 100. So coming through then for the first time, Van Hoorbeek, a 207.44. Whoa, Searle goes down! Tommy Searle goes down! And if his weekend couldn't get any worse, Tommy Searle just high-sides himself out of the seat. And he is having all kinds of problems this weekend in Latvia, and that was, oh, if he's not winded. Oh, and his moose is off. His moose is off as well. His tyre's gone. This is exactly what happened to Jeffrey Hurlings yesterday. And I tell you what, we don't see it that often, but when we do, that is the consequence. So Tommy Searle has got nowhere to go. The moose is out. I wonder if that had already gone when he high-sided himself, because he landed off the jump here. Tyre already off, look. And then gets thrown down the track. And Tonkov goes sailing by, so too the rest of the pack. But Tommy Searle, wow, what can you say about that? His championship now, I hate to say it, has definitely hit the skids. He is now looking at trying to, I would have to say, defend second position. He was 38 points down on Jeffrey Hurlings after getting it to within 16 after Sweden. And, wow. Doing well to get that bike back through the final couple of corners. Might even get it. In fact, there you go. Race not over and done with. So he's getting that back in there. No outside assistance. They're going to stick another rear wheel in that, so Tommy Searle could still yet pick up points. Good thinking there, Tommy Searle. I was about to say your championship over and done with, but he's actually got his, sticking the rear wheel in. Changing gloves as well, changing goggles. Just wonder how much more damage, but that's irrelevant at the moment in terms of he doesn't have got to worry about brakes or spokes or any of that kind of thing. But it just depends on how far down he's going to be. Well, already over the line for the second lap. Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. Tixier second, Hurlings third, Red Bull KTM 1, 2, 3. Max Anstey in fourth place. Gary Boldy, Honda Ester Machine. Scott Probert there in the corner. On the right-hand side, a former motocross rider himself before knee injuries wrecked his professional career and wields the spanners on a practice bike for Elliot Banks-Brown, and obviously Elliot not riding at the moment really, so he's out here helping Tommy Searle the last few races. But wow, what a turn-up. We saw it last week or 2 weeks ago with Tony Cairoli in MX1, but two DNFs, you don't often see it, and Tommy Searle doing the same thing. But well, it's not a DNF at the moment because he's going back out, but certainly no points on the board for Tommy Searle because everybody else has gone through. And, well, Zach Osborne, his race has come to an end as well because he's down in 29th place. So Tommy Searle, depending on how many riders actually survive this race in terms of bikes not breaking or just giving up the will to live and race around such an extreme circuit in terms of the conditions that they're facing here after the deluge of rain that we had a moment ago, Tommy Searle could still pick up at least a point, possibly, but he's already 2 laps down on the rest of the field, so it's going to be a pretty big ask. Well, Tommy Searle goes back out, clean gloves, clean goggles, brand new rear wheel in the back of that Fluid Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. But the fastest man on track, Jeffrey Hurlings, 2:06, 2 seconds quicker than Van Hoorbeek and Tixier. There is Tixier, just a little bit wayward as he came over the second of those 2 back straight tabletops. That's the gap between him and Hurlings. There's Van Hoorbeek as well. So the first 3 riders last time around only separated by about 4.5 seconds. Max Anstey going to be relishing I mean, that crash there that we saw from Tommy Searle, I thought that was just a normal high side in the split second that we had to see it. I was looking at that part because that's just right below our TV commentary position. And there's a hole there just after the jump where the riders were landing, and on the sighting lap I was watching guys go through there. I was thinking, oh, that could be a bit dodgy, as Anstey almost comes to grief in the background there at the end of pit lane there. As we saw, the Moose again in issue. Not sure if it's the same brand of tyre that KTM and Kawasaki use off the top of my head. But there you go. Tommy Searle rejoins the race. He's got 26.5 minutes plus 2 laps to see what he can do, what he can salvage to do the absolute minimum now to keep his World Championship aspirations alive. Just going to check the board at the moment. Hurlings in 3rd place would go to 4:45. There is Hurlings, our championship leader. Tommy Searle would stay on 3:87. That'll be 58 points. There's Osborne. Yeah, Osborne. He's been down. There's that. Doesn't look good for Osborne. Mel Pocock, the European 250 championship leader, looks on. And Tommy Searle, as I rightly predicted when he looked to have been out of the race, 3:87 to 3:75. What's that? 12 points. So drama here again in MX2. So 25 minutes to go in what has already been a drama-filled MX2 race 2 here. Round 10, the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship in Latvia. Jeremy Van Hoorbeek leads from Jordi Tixier and Jeffrey Hurlings, with Max Anstey 4th and Joel Roulance 5th. But Tommy Searle, who had a DNF in Moto number 1, we just saw how his tyre came off the rim. Potential Moose problem it looked like, because that had broken up as well. And Tommy Searle looked to have been out of the race, but he managed to get that bike back somehow, just pushing it over the line with the engine running and into the work area with the rim spinning inside the tyre, but grabbing enough traction just to be able to roll its way through into pit lane. His team have changed the rear wheel and he's back out in the race, but outside of the points at the moment. With 24 minutes to go, Van Hoorbeek is 3.9 seconds clear of Jordi Tixier, 9.11. That's him there, ahead of his teammate Jeffrey Hurlings, our championship leader. Max Anstey is 4th, Roulance is 5th, Tomkoff 6th, Coldenhoff 7th, Jens Getterman having another good ride in 8th, and we're going down to pit lane to talk to Honda.
Joining me in the pit lane, Giacomo Garibaldi. We've got obviously a really tough race out there, but both Max and Alexander are doing extremely well. Are you happy with their ride today?
Yes, we are happy because in the second race they are 4th and 6th, so we hope that they can finish like that, and because they didn't have the great GPs in the last 2 GPs.
Thank you.
Giacomo Garibaldi just wanted to get back to watching the race here, because as he just mentioned a moment ago, Max Anstey and Alexander Tomkoff are sitting there in 4th and 6th position at the moment. Glenn Coldenhoff, the Nissan GM Racing, the lone Nissan GM Racing KTM rider now, after the demise of Jake Nichols on lap 1 as he led. He is in 7th position. Jens Getterman, the standing construct Suzuki rider, is in 8th. Nikolai Larsen, his teammate, is down in 9th. In fact, teammates, actually, Getterman and Larsen. So they're 8th and 9th. Alex Lupino's Richie Husqvarna is in 10th, ahead of Dylan Ferrandis, Bud Rockstar Racing, Kawasaki. Then Jose Boutron, Diga KTM in 12th. Davis Ivanovs is 13th on the Riga Racing Kawasaki, as Tixier now being caught by Jeffrey Hurlings. And they're both being caught by Max Anstey. So the Honda Garibaldi rider, Max Anstey, number 6, closing in on the 2 Red Bull KTMs here of Jordi Tixier, 9.11. And the 84 of Jeffrey Hurlings, who is using all of his expertise, his knowledge and wisdom at such a young age, but the experience coming from riding in wet, sandy conditions back home in the Netherlands and Belgium, of course. And he's trying to use all of that and put it to good use to find a way past Jordi Tixier. Kevin Fors is in 14th position. Valentin Guillot on the Scott Racing KTM is 15th, ahead of the Monster Energy Yamaha of Charlier. Then we've got the Honda Latvia Elchny rider, Rick Satink, who's guest riding for Roberts Just, the normal runner in that team, ahead of Arnold Tonis, Roman Fevre and Nick Kuenberg. Just looking a bit further down, yeah, Tommy Searle still a lap down, or a couple laps down at the moment, but he's going to try and circulate as much as he can because he knows that guys ahead of him could fall by the wayside. Either way, it's going to be a brave effort from Tommy Searle. Van Hoorbeek, how far is he? 4.7 seconds clear of Jordi Tixier. Jeffrey Hurlings third, Anstey 4, Roulance 5, but he's 6 seconds down on Anstey. So our winner from Moto number 1, after a good start, not able to string it together at the moment, and it'll be Van Hoorbeek who would win the overall Grand Prix if it stays like this. He'll be on 45 points with a third and a win. Just looking at the result from race 1, Hurlings with a second and a third would go to 42. And Roulance would have to be third at the moment, but that could still yet be disputed, because if Hurlings goes past Tixier, that'll give him another couple of points, so Van Hoorbeek would still win. So for Jeffrey Hurlings to win the Grand Prix, he has to find a way past first his young teammate of Jordi Tixier, and then of course Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, his much older teammate. And look at this, Anstey has caught, no he hasn't, it's Tixier going through with Jeffrey Hurlings just ahead of him. So a quick pull of the roll-offs for Hurlings, 84, and this is going to be showdown time now, the next 20 minutes. What can Jeffrey Hurlings do to eat away at that 5.1 second advantage to his teammate? And in the past, you know, some people have said that was it there, that was the move. People have maybe criticised Jeremy Van Hoorbeek for not taking the challenge enough to Jeffrey Hurlings. Well, with more than 50 points, the deficit as it stands at the moment, maybe that will come this weekend, because every rider wants to be a Grand Prix winner. Of course, Van Hoorbeek has won one before in the past at Spain, at Belpuig a couple of years ago. Obviously, with Tommy Searle out of the points at the moment in the second race, Hurlings is going to have to push very hard to close down if he wants to win the Grand Prix. But Van Hoorbeek, well, he's already being caught. Look, that gap has already come down from 5.1 seconds. Here's Van Hoorbeek here, and in the corner there in the background, about 3, maybe 4 seconds back, here's his teammate Jeffrey Hurlings. Either way you look at it, it's a KTM Red Bull 1-2-3 at the moment. Max Anstey still about 3 seconds down on Tixier, but going for a podium finish. Here's Max Anstey. Got a third in the second moto in Portugal. Got him 4th overall, Max Anstey, so he's going to be looking to just get some points on the board and concentrate on the second half of the season here. Right, there's Hurlings, 84. He's in second position. But what about Tixier? Tixier hasn't finished on the podium. He's been 4th on one occasion. That was also in Portugal in Moto number 1, but he has had a 5th place. He's had 3 5th place finishes, actually. And a couple of maybe 3 or 4 6th place finishes, but he was 5th place in the championship before we came here. He was 5th after the first moto. A few points behind Joel Roulance, though. So again, Van Hoorbeek wins from Hurlings and Tixier. It'll be Van Hoorbeek's first race win of the season, and it'll be Tixier's first visit to the podium ever. Max Anstey comes through here now on the Honda Garibaldi Ester, the number 6. But he's got Joel Roulance 34, Floride Monster Energy, Pro Circuit Kawasaki closing in. It looks like gap was 2.5 seconds as they came over the line, but as we saw from the shot before the wave section, Roulance looks like he might have closed just a little bit. Max Anstey, well, most of these riders, no strangers to conditions like this, but spending much of his time in Europe, Max Anstey, certainly no stranger, despite his 3 or 4 years riding in the US. But Joel Roulance definitely has closed in. What's going on here? Just a little bit of steam coming from under the bottom end of the bike, a little bit of an overheating problem. There's Jeffrey Hurlings going after his teammate, Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. And that gap, 4.1 seconds. Just a moment ago, but working their way back round towards the finish line area and dropping downhill. Tommy Searle. Like just overheating just a little bit. Not sure how much effort he's going to be putting in. Prix Ratset now up into the points. That's what he said he wanted to do, because obviously Tommy Searle's problem is he's still a couple laps down on everybody else around him. And that includes Dylan Ferrandis, who's in 21st, Kenny Van Duren, Simone Zikina, Vashislev, yeah, Golovkin. Tommy Searle, I think, he's giving it up, or is that Roulance? That's Roulance coming in for goggles. So Joel Roulance then, who steams through pit lane, has given up that charge for Max Anstey. He had a good gap over Alexander Tonkov, but now with clean goggles, he's obviously thinking he can get close enough to maybe even think about passing Max Anstey, but he was 3 seconds down on him. That pit stop would have cost him maybe 6 or 7 seconds, maybe a maximum of 10. So now he's got to do the next bit, which is the hard work in the next 15.5 minutes, plus 2 laps, almost loses the front end. Christophe Charlier down in 15th at the moment, the Monster Energy Yamaha rider. That's him on screen. He's a long way down on our leaders. Good look at the lap times, 2:08 this time. Charlier went for him to come through, but it's more than 1 minute 20. Comes through now. So Roman Federer's had a good ride, because he's up into 15th position. So we look at Jose Boutron getting it wrong in the corner where he parked Jeremy Van Hoorbeek in a first race, but he's still there in 10th place. That's Lupino just behind him, number 77. Factory Husqvarna rider. So Joel Roulance then came into pit lane just a moment ago, about a half a lap or so ago. Came in for clean goggles as he approached the rear wheel of Max Anstey, but obviously decided to opt for better visibility, increased lap times and all the rest of it. But with 14 minutes to go, Van Hoorbeek now 3.2 seconds clear of Hurlings. And Tommy Searle comes back in. 2 laps down, it was always going to be a big ask. But the bike just overheating as well. Looks like he's got a bit of tape on his neck there, so maybe he's got a bit of a muscle pull that he's having to deal with as well. So is that game over then for Tommy Searle in terms of the championship? We hope not, but Jeffrey Hurling still has a lot of work to do here this weekend. He's got to find a way to close down Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, his teammate, if he's to win the Grand Prix. That's the gap. There's a back marker between them. That back marker being one of the Riga guys, 300. So that'll be Golovkin, the Russian rider. They says it all, doesn't it? A lost opportunity this weekend for Tommy Searle, especially after the qualifying result yesterday from Jeffrey Hurlings, 28, going out on around lap 8, lap 9. And having to start at a disadvantage all the way over to the outside. Of course, Tommy Searle was 3rd in Moto 1 when he went off the leaderboard due to that engine problem that he suffered. So had Tommy Searle either gone to finish 2nd or win the race in Moto number 1, that gap for Moto 2 would have probably been down to as low as 9 or 10 points, and we've got a steaming KTM there as well. So the conditions here not kind to the machines. We'll see it in MX1 as well a little later on, of course. The longer you stay behind somebody, the more chance you've got of being filled in. The radiator's getting blocked, the engine's overheating, using more water and then losing water and starting to overheat and boil up. There's one of the back marker, might have been Kevin Forbes actually. Looking to see the gap between Anstey and Roulance, but his teammate, Alexander Tonkov, in the yellow helmet, coming under pressure from Glenn Koldenoff. And look at that, fastest first split goes to Joe Roulance. So Tonkov, who's having a good ride, he's still there in 6th, doing his best to fend off the challenge. Look at the line there from Koldenoff, up and around the outside, trying to stay out of the trouble, stay out of roost. Tonkov comes over the line now in 6th position, about 30-something seconds down on Joe Roulance. And look at that, Roulance is, how far is he? He's 18 seconds off the lead and 6 seconds off of Max Anstey. So he has whittled down that gap. So the goggle change there for Joe Roulance has paid off, because look at that, 207.6 compared to the 213.6. In fact, he's only 2 seconds down. That was a lap time there, 2:13 compared to the 2:07. Max Anstey and Joe Roulance. So 6 seconds difference that time around, and they're only 2 seconds apart now. So Jeremy Van Hoorbeek then is in a position to win his first Grand Prix of the season, as Tonkov gets passed there by Koldenoff on the Nissan JM Racing KTM, number 25, up on the right-hand side, has no option but to pull a mini whip as he hits that jump. Just got a bit offline at the bottom, had to bring it back as he took off. Back end just getting a bit loose. That's where his teammate crashed through there on the first lap. He had the lead as well. The conditions much worse than what they are now. It was like that to the inside, all water, just covering the circuit. So Tonkov drops down to 7th position. Nikolai Larsen having a good ride on the standing construct Suzuki. He's in 8th ahead of his teammate now, Jens Getterman in 9th, and then Jose Boutron is 10th. But those 3 guys are all separated by, what, 3 or 4 seconds now. Gap between Van Hoorbeek and Herlings, 3.3 seconds. In fact, it was 3.3. Coming down just a little bit more. This is Herlings. He's closed down that gap even since coming over the finish line. So maybe Van Hoorbeek just ran into trouble, getting it a little bit deep in one of the corners. He's going for the first of all, he's going for his race win and then the Grand Prix. We're going down to pit lane.
We've got an all Red Bull KTM top 3. Jeremy is leading the race. It would be great to see him win this.
Yeah, luckily we're still out there. I mean, we saw now, like with Tommy, he had really bad luck like we had yesterday with his tire coming off. It's a tough battle because conditions are really rough, so I hope we can save and bring all the 3 bikes home.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think Dirk Grubel there, referring to the fact bringing all 3 bikes home, it can be rider error that can lead to them not finishing, but also mechanical. And we've seen there, Tommy Searle experiencing problems in both races this weekend. An engine malfunction of some sort, and also that tyre problem, which Jeffrey Herlings bizarrely experienced himself yesterday. So 2 in 2 days. And just a case of just keeping it all intact and bringing home that, as they're looking at it, a 1-2-3 for Red Bull KTM, but more importantly, points on the board for the riders and, of course, for KTM as a manufacturer. Max Anstey has been passed by Joe Roulance. That gap now gone out to 3 seconds, so Roulance now only 6 seconds down on Jordi Tixier and lapping 3 seconds quicker that time around. So it might not be a 1-2-3 for Red Bull KTM, because Joe Roulance certainly on the charge here, and he could be the party spoiler as well, because Van Hoorbeek currently leads the overall classification. With 45, Jeffrey Herlings is on 44, Joe Roulance is on 43, and if he finds a way past Jordi Tixier, that will clear him another 2 points, puts him on 45, which will tie him with Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. Oh, look at that. One of the Red Bull KTMs. Is that Van Hoorbeek or is that Hurlings? I think it's Hurlings, actually. So Hurlings now, his machine starting to steam. He's obviously riding a little bit harder. Both the KTMs is that. 89 there, Van Hoorbeek. So both their bikes just blowing a little bit of smoke in these conditions. But more so 84, Jeffrey Hurlings, as he picks his way through the rutted takeoff on that tabletop. Having to deal with the back marker. That's 600, that's Davis Ivanovs, the second of the Riga Kawasaki's, and he's in the points in 18th position. So 3.2 the gap between first and second. Van Hoorbeek and Hurlings. Tixier 9 seconds further back, but he's being caught about a second and a half now between Tixier and Joel Roulants, the Kawasaki Floride Monster Energy rider. Anstey has dropped back down into 5th place. Koldenhoff is into 6th, but 20 seconds behind Max Anstey. Then we've got Tonkov 7th, Nick Larson 8th, Boutron 9, Lupino 10. Getterman having a good ride, as we said earlier, in 11th. Tonus now up into 12th, having found a way past Kevin Fors and Roman Febvre. Valentin Guillot is 15th, Charlie A 16th. With Ratsep 17, Davis Ivanovs, Rick Satink, he would love to score points here in only his second ever Grand Prix in MX2. And then Dylan Ferrandis has bridged that gap. He's now in the points in 20th position. Gap between Hurlings and the race leader, Van Hoorbeek, now 3.7 seconds. So just lost over half a second that time around. Yellow flags over there. Oh, there was a yellow helmet in that corner. Wonder if that was, I don't see too many of those helmets actually. Just wondering whether it's not Anstey, because Anstey was wearing a different colour to his teammate. But it might have been Tonkov, maybe, I'm not sure. Wait for Tonkov to come over the line now. Golden half in 6, he's over the line, waiting for Tonkov. Where is he? Tonkov still waiting for him to break the timing beam over the finish line. That is Rick Satink, the Honda Latvia Elchny rider. Just 6 guys cross the line at the moment, having completed 13 laps. They are Van Hoorbeek, Jeffrey Hurlings. Yeah, I think Tonkov has gone missing. I just saw a flash of yellow, the helmet in the background in one of the corners where the yellow flags were waving opposite pit lane. And Tonkov now being dropped down to 11th and further down as Tonus goes through in 11th. But here's Roulants, he's in 3rd. He's found a way past Tixier and cleared him by 4 seconds. He's only 8 seconds down on Jeffrey Hurlings. And what we've got, 3:50 on the clock, plus 2 laps to go. It's a 2:10 lap time. And I think Joel Roulants could do something here. He could win the overall Grand Prix. If he finds a way past Hurlings, Roulants is your overall Grand Prix winner. Yeah, there's Tonkov. That was Tonkov going down. Same place, similar place to Jake Nichols. Look, yellow helmet. Or is that Anstey? Nah, that's Anstey, that one. The red helmet. So Anstey making a mistake. But he's still there in 5th place. There's smoke in TM. Bit of an overheat on that one for Andrea Chervelin, the SKS Polned TM factory team. That's the problem now that these riders are facing. There's going to be more in this. And this is why Tommy Searle went out, really, because maybe he knew, but he was also overheating and getting a little bit steamy. So look at that. Roulants has closed in on Jeffrey Hurlings. There's nothing in it between them now as they come through. So Roulants going after the Grand Prix victory here. Fight for 2nd position. It's game on here for Roulants and Kawasaki. Roulants goes through in dramatic fashion then, as he goes past Jeffrey Herlings. This is going to be for the overall Grand Prix victory, because he found a way past Tixier, and he's found a way past Jeffrey Herlings. He could still yet go after Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, win the race and make it a double moto win here to give Kawasaki certainly a little bit of solace, I guess. But there's Tonkov. So Tonkov it was who went down. He's out, couldn't get that bike started. He's disappointed, but we're going to keep an eye with a minute and a half plus 2 laps to go. We're waiting for Jeremy Van Hoorbeek to come through. Here's Joel Roulance. He's on the charge. He's in second position in the race because he's just passed Jeffrey Herlings a moment ago. That gap, 6.8 seconds. Oh, he might not do it. He might not do it. Might just run out of time. Although, look at that, 2:05.873. Joel Roulance sets his personal best with 3 laps to go, compared to the 2:08.94 of Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. Of course, he's got a clear track ahead of him now, has Joel Roulance. So a bit of a showdown coming on here. And of course, that's taken a couple more points away from Jeffrey Herlings as far as Floride Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki are concerned. Of course, Tommy Searle will be the benefactor in a roundabout kind of way there, but Jeffrey Herlings just wants to keep it up on 2 wheels. He knows he's going to have a 58 or a 56-point advantage over Tommy Searle. So for him, it's just important to get on the podium, and he'll take the extension in points. But I want to see the gap between Van Hoorbeek and Joel Roulance, because Roulance is the one who's on the charge at the moment. We've got about 2.5 laps to go as we look at Jeffrey Herlings, number 84, Red Bull Factory KTM. Larson now up into 7th, Boutron is 8, Getterman 9, Lapino is 10, Tonus 11, Roman Fevre is 12, Kevin Fors is 13th, they had Christophe Charlier, Prit Ratzep again, 15th for him, Valentin Guyot, Davis Ivanovs, Rick Setting, Dylan Ferrandis now 19th, and Alexander Tonkov, he's been out for 2 laps, but look at that. He's credited with a point at the moment. So I'm guessing just 19 riders out on track at the moment. So Tommy Searle could have maybe picked up a championship point had he stayed out there, but it's a difficult one to call. There's Tonus, number 7, and Lapino. They're going to be fighting over 10th place. So we'll wait for our race leader to come through, Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, as he as the two lap board gets ready. He was 2:08.9 last time around compared to the 2:05.8 of Joel Roulance. And look at that, 4.3 now the gap. 2:13, 2:10, Van Hoorbeek, Joel Roulance. Oh, and look at that! Herlings is out! Herlings is out of the race. His bike has gone. So this is a real dramatic. I didn't think it could get any more dramatic than Sweden 2 weeks ago. Jeffrey Herlings, the bike was maybe slowing. That allowed Roulance to close in, who was on a march anyway, would have caught and passed him fairly and squarely. But look at that. So Tommy Searle then will remain 38 points behind Jeffrey Herlings going into Russia. And as we said, there's still a long way to go in this championship season. A lot of laps to race, a lot of races to go as well. And while it was looking pretty much game over for Tommy Searle, you can never rule anything out. And, well, KTM have proven to be the most reliable bike in the last few years. And, well, we've had Van Hoorbeek. His bike went in the first moto in Sweden 2 weeks ago. Of course, Herlings had that tyre problem yesterday. And it's Herlings who suffers in the second moto here as his bike expires or whatever it is. I can't imagine he would have run out of fuel, but he walks away knowing that he's got a 38-point advantage. But this is a battle with a lap and a half to go. First and second. There's Joel Roulance on the Nissan, on the Floride Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. Number 34, he's got Van Hoorbeek in his sights. There's absolutely nothing in it between these two guys. It was 4.3 as they came over the line. It's less than that. And this will be a massive win for Joel Roulance if he can find a way to the front. A double race win, an overall Grand Prix victory. And he will definitely tell everybody that he's back for the second half of the season. But Van Hoorbeek won't make it easy for him. That's the gap there. We've got yellow flags on the downside of the jump, but they're not waving on. Now they are at the bottom there, but the rider offline. Over the line we go then. The final lap, crunch time. Joel Roulant still will win the Grand Prix as Herlings walks back there just to the right of the finish line area. About 2 seconds, 2.6 seconds between those two guys. Oh, Ferrandis, that's him sat at the bottom of the hill. So Ferrandis is telling these guys not to help him. No, too late. So Ferrandis then, he's been down there a couple of laps. So Tommy Searle, had he continued, had his bike been able to finish the race, could have maybe picked up a couple of points here. But this is a battle here. Van Hoorbeek, he will win the race, but he won't win the overall Grand Prix, barring any problems to the man behind him on the green Kawasaki, Joel Roulant. So a Belgian 1-2 at the moment. Doubling his way through, better drive through there for Joel Roulant. Has he got anything up his sleeve? It's going to be a desperate last-ditch effort for Roulant. Tixier now in third then, Anstey fourth, Koldenhoff is fifth, Larson is sixth, Boutron is seventh, Getterman is eighth, Tonus now ninth, ahead of Lupino, Roman Febvre up to 11th, having a great Grand Prix on the Bodo Schmidt Motorsport KTM. Kevin Fors is 11th, ahead of Christophe Charlier, Prick Ratset, Valentin Guyot, Davis Ivanovs and Rick Satink, our last point scorer in 17th position because Herlings has gone out. He will be classified as 18th. Dylan Ferrandis is out, classified as 19th. And Alexander Tomkov will get a championship point, even though he's been out for, well, since lap 13 for the last 4 laps. But Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, Red Bull KTM, he's 2 corners away from taking the checkered flag here. And he managed just to put some distance between himself and Joel Roulant. Maybe Joel Roulant's just thinking the better of it. But look at that, Van Hoorbeek comes through. Checkered flag gets ready. He wins his first race of the season, but he only gets second overall in the Grand Prix because Joel Roulant, with a win and a second, will win the Grand Prix. So Belgium 1-2. These two guys congratulate each other. Good race, but look at that reaction from Joel Roulant. He's getting ready to be met by Amy, I would think, any moment now. He'll turn through there and a quick turn right back up towards the podium area as he is the overall Grand Prix winner here in what has been an absolutely sensational MX2 Grand Prix in Latvia, round 10.
Joel, congratulations. The first GP win. You must be so happy.
Yeah, it's amazing. I stopped for goggles and I was riding a really good race, but then in the end they say to save the bike, so I go a little bit less fast, and maybe I could catch Jeremy, but it was not important for me today. It's my first ever GP win and I'm so pumped.
Congratulations. We'll speak to you more on the podium in just a second.
Yeah, what a great move that turned out to be for Joel Roulant. He came in when he was in 5th place behind Max Anstey. He was within a couple of seconds of him, and he came in to change his goggles. That's his old man there to the right, but he came in, made the right choice at the right time, and Tixier on the podium as well in 3rd in terms of the race. And is that 3rd overall for Tixier in the Grand Prix? It will be, yeah, 36 points for him. So a day of first then for KTM and Kawasaki. Tixier makes it onto the 3rd step of an MX2 podium in the race and overall, and look what it means to him, look what it means to him. But Van Hoorbeek wins the race. And takes his first win of the season. So Van Hoorbeek, first race win. Roulant, first GP win. And Tixier, first podium in MX2. And look at that, 84, Jeffrey Herlings has to walk back without his bike after what looked good for KTM. But maybe the maybe the proof was in the comments that Dirk Grubel made. Just the thing is, just to get the bikes all home safe, and maybe he knew something we didn't. But anyway, official confirmation at the moment. There were 17-point scorers, 11 finishing on the same lap. Roman Favourite, 2 minutes 13 down on our race leader, having completed 18 laps of brutal torture. So Jeremy Van Hoorbeek wins Moto number 2, his first race win of the season. Joe Roulant second to win the Grand Prix ahead of Tixier's first visit to the podium. Then it was Anstey, Glenn Coldenhoff, Nikolai Larsen, Jose Boutron, Jens Getterman, Arno Tonus and Roman Favourite. Then it was Kevin Fors, Christophe Charlier, Prit Ratsep, Valentin Guillot, Davis Ivanovs and Rick Satting for the Honda Elchny Latvia squad. Hurlings, Ferrandis, Tonkov, Searle all going out of race 2, and Zach Osborne. Look at that, Kevin Fors, 12th place in that race. What a great ride for him. Party time at the moment as we get ready for the podium, but there's your podium. Roulant wins it by 2 from Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, and debut performance for him, Jordi Tixier. But look at the guys down there. Nichols, Ferrandis, Searle, no score for him. Osborne, just 3 points on the board for him. Wow. Fantastic Grand Prix here in Latvia. Another dramatic turning point. Just wondering if you can still hear me over the tannoy, this circuit. Jeffrey Hurlings, though, still 38 points clear of Tommy Searle, as it was after race 1. Van Hoorbeek within striking distance there. No points on the board, though, for Jake Nichols. None for Tommy Searle, none for Hurlings in the second moto. But looking further down, Toner's picked up some points today. Goes ahead of his teammate now. Kevin Fors, now 25th in the championship. Getterman 26th, Ratsep 27th. And should be a couple more point scorers in there, maybe. Yeah, look at that. Rick Satting, 4 points today. He'll be pleased with that. Stand-in rider for Robert Just, the Latvian MX2 rider, normally for the Latvian Honda Elchny team. So what does that do for the manufacturer's chase? Well, KTM will pick up another 25 points. That victory for them in the hands of Jeremy Van Hoorbeek. And Kawasaki will pick up 22 more points. So Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, he wins the second moto and gives KTM 25 more points in the manufacturer's chase. Kawasaki get 22 in the form of Joe Roulants, but Yamaha, tough race for them this week, but they're third in the chase. But look how far back they are. Then Honda, Suzuki, Husqvarna and TM. AC/DC, Highway to Hell. I think this time next week might be Rasputin by Boney M. As we go to Russia. Well, I'm going to catch my breath for a moment here because I'm still trying to get over what a dramatic MX2 Grand Prix that was that we've just witnessed here in Latvia. Round 10, round 11 moves to Russia in a week's time, a brand new circuit, Semigurik. And hey, with the weather that we've had so far throughout 2011, we've had more wet races than dry races. I wouldn't be surprised if we continue that trend next week. I have no idea what the conditions are, whether it's hard pack or sand or hilly or flat, but either way, it'll prove to be a challenge for the riders. Third overall, though, this weekend, the Latvian Grand Prix. Number 911, the Red Bull Factory KTM rider. First time on an MX2 podium, Jordi Tixier. And he was in tears as he came over into the waiting zone after that second moto. his teammate, Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, number 89, second overall this weekend. But more importantly for him, he takes his first race win of the season. But our overall Grand Prix winner, again, a first for him in MX2. Joel Roulance, the Floride Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. So every cloud has a silver lining. Harry Nolte will stand to the right of the podium. Tommy Searle, 2 no scores. Joel Roulance, his teammate, picking up his first ever Grand Prix victory. Nina Berjukova, Secretary General of the Latvian Motorcycle Federation, handing the trophy to Jordi Tixier. So it's Freemanis with his normal and ever popular in these parts podium celebration all of his own as he comes out to give the second place trophy to Jeremy Van Hoorbeek there on the left as we look at it. But what a moment for this rider. Joel Roulance taking his first ever MX2 Grand Prix victory. He is the crown prince here of Latvia. And supposed to go around your neck, Joel. There you go. But what a moment for him. Keep playing Highway to Hell. I'm not sure if that's due to the weather conditions that the MX2 riders experienced in that Tekamoto with all the rain that we had. But certainly our dignitaries are getting into the spirit of things. Solvita Albertina, Parliament Speaker here, handing Harry Nolte on behalf of his team and Kawasaki the winner's trophy this weekend in what were very trying and testing conditions. A drying out circuit in Moto number 1 and a very wet circuit in Moto number 2. But Jeffrey Hurlings, a slight smile for him because he knows he's still 38 points clear of Tommy Searle. He's still the red plate holder. Dr. Wolfgang Strub, the director of the FIM Motocross Commission, handing him another red plate. He's led the championship from the very first round. And did you notice he handed a can of Red Bull to Jordi Tixier? That's how new to the podium he is this weekend. Well, Joe Roulance is your overall winner here. And it's time for him to hear the Belgian national anthem for the first time for him in his career. Kawasaki overall winners this weekend, the national anthem for Japan. So in what was an eventful Grand Prix here, the 10th round of the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship, Joe Roulance finally takes his first ever MX2 Grand Prix victory, and he does so ahead of fellow countrymen from Belgium, Jeremy Van Hoorbeek to our left, and Jordi Tixier, the second of the Red Bull KTM riders. No Tommy Searle, no Jeffrey Hurlings to be seen on the podium this weekend in what was a weekend of firsts for these three guys. First podium, first race win, first podium. On a day they'll truly remember in what were very, very difficult conditions. And here's how it went down at Latvia, race 2. Tommy Searle got off to a good start on what was a very waterlogged start straight after a deluge of rain 20 minutes before the first race. And then Tommy Searle, he started to lose power, or so we thought, but his rear mousse and the tyre came off the rim, high-slided him down the straight. We thought that was it. He had the peace of mind, though, to come back in, change the rear wheel somehow, and then went back out. Meanwhile, Jeffrey Hurlings, who started in 6th position, found himself going through into second place as he found a way past Jordi Tixier. Tommy Searle came in, and that was it, game over in a race that actually saw only 17 finishers come over the line in what were very difficult conditions. Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, though, he led the race as Joel Roulant started to close in. He found a way past Jeffrey Hurlings with a few laps to go, and at that point he'd done enough to win the overall Grand Prix, and then a lap and a half later Hurlings himself went out suffering a mechanical, but it was his teammate Jeremy Van Hoorbeek who came home and won his first race of the season. But here's Joel Roulant, our Grand Prix winner.
Joel, congratulations on your first GP win. How was that second race?
It was awesome. Had problems with the goggles after 100 meters because it was full of water, the track, and yeah, then I ride for like 15-20 minutes, and I was really close to somebody, but you couldn't pass without goggles, so I came in, take new goggles, and then I go to second. Maybe I could go to third, but that was not important today. I was really happy to have my first GP win.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The Floride Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki Joel Roulant said, short and sweet, but said what he had to say. Goggles on the first lap, where you just saw from the replay a moment ago how much water was on there after torrential rain soaked the circuit, and I'm sure that's still there now. They wouldn't have had time to work or do anything with it without making it any worse or any softer. But Joel Roulant, he got the power down, and he fought through from 5th place after that goggle change, got back to second. That was enough to win the Grand Prix after winning Moto #1. And he does his World Championship no harm at all. It's a shame that he had that big crash in Fermo, where his season just kind of went on the slide just a little bit after that. 2 DNFs and just a loss of confidence and a loss of form. But guess what? He'll be back to do it all over again in Russia. Van Hoorbeek was second. Here he is with Amy.
Jeremy, we knew it was coming. Finally, you've got that race win. How happy are you with that?
Yeah, you know, I'm really happy about the race win, but I would love to win the GP, you know, but first moto, Butron kicked me out, but yeah, it's a race incident, and I lost some places, so that's why I'm 2 on the podium, but I'm happy with this. I feel really bad for my buddy, Jeffrey, but I feel also bad for Tommy, because it's not nice, you know, to lose points when the bike break. I know how it feels, like last week, but it's racing, and I'm happy to be second on the podium, and I want to give this to Rami, my mechanic. It's his birthday, you know, so happy birthday for him, and thanks to the whole Red Bull Factory KTM team.
Thanks, Jeremy, and happy birthday, Remy.
Yeah, you sensed a slight little bit of disappointment on the podium on the face of Jeremy Van Hoorbeek as he was stood there next to fellow countryman Joel Roulant, who, let's face it, none of us probably saw it coming, although he has been on form all weekend and would have been an outside bet certainly to be on the podium, and who knows, maybe even get a victory. He certainly did that in Moto #1. He did enough to wrap it up. But Van Hoorbeek, yeah, a little bit disappointed, but he's on the podium and he's within striking distance of second. But what about this guy here, Jordi Tixier?
Jordi, congratulations, your first podium. How has this weekend been for you?
Oh, my weekend, it's an amazing day for me, you know. A weekend begin already really good Saturday, and yeah, today I have really good feeling on the bike and on the track. And yeah, I finished third in a second race. I was a bit lucky because Jeffrey broke the engine, but yeah, it's a race. I am really happy about this, and yeah, I hope I can do another podium. But yeah, I would like to thank all my family, my mama, my brother who watch me on the TV, also my girlfriend. But I would like also to thank my father and all the team KTM Red Bull Factory. So I am really, really so happy.
Well done, Jordi. Hopefully the first of many.
Yeah, a good day then for all those 3 guys, but that's it for us here, MX2. We'll see in a moment for MX1.